Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about making it count, making every shot that you have count, especially in certain tanks. Now, there is certain tanks out there which you can afford to miss shots. Talk about, say, medium tanks with great DPM. You can afford to miss them shots. And also there are tanks out there, something like an IS-7, Super Conqueror Chieftain and stuff like that. Those are also tanks that you could get away with missing some shots. But then there's tanks out there that you really need to focus. You really need to make every shot count. Let's talk about tanks like the Death Star, for example. It has a massive alpha, and every single shot a Death Star could take, it can change the outcome of a game. Even one shot can change the outcome of a game, or there could be one missed shot that could also change the outcome of the game. And it's not just the Death Star. I'm talking about big tanks in general. You know, the Jaegeru, another high alpha tank. And then you've got tanks like, say, the Batchat. You know, I know it's not a big, massive gun, but it's an auto-loader. If you miss a couple of shots, you know, your DPM dramatically decreases. And then you have a tank like the E100, which is what we are showing here. Now, there is a reason that we are showing the E100. It's because I basically played it, I had a good game, and at the end of it, I thought, Joe, I actually hit every single shot. And the difference it can make when you hit every single shot is massive. It really can be massive difference, and it can be the difference between winning and losing. So, you know, when you drive a big tank like the E100, a tank that has high alpha, low DPM, you really need to make every shot count. Honestly, if that means that you have to aim just a little bit longer, then, you know, that is what you should be doing. Because yes, you might wait an extra 2 seconds just for the aiming circle to go right down, but if you don't do that and you miss your shot, you're then going to be waiting an extra 17 or 18 seconds for your reload. So, you know, waiting that extra couple of seconds can really be worth it. And then, so that's the aiming kind of point of view. You've also got the penetration point of view, the shells that you're using. You know, you've got premium rounds for a reason. You don't see it now, really. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but back in the day, if you shoot your premium rounds, you would get raged at. Honestly, if you shot heat and you penetrated someone in a heavy armored tank, they would absolutely rage at you. They would call you a gold noob. Honestly, they would call you a cheater. At the end of the day, your premium round is there for a reason. Use it. If you think you can't penetrate someone with your normal rounds, do not be afraid to switch your ammo to your premium round. Now, back then it was a little bit different because you did do the same alpha. So there was people that was just going around spamming their premium rounds because they didn't care about credits. They had credits and they just wanted to guarantee the penetration. Nowadays, of course, you lose your damage, you lose your alpha. So if you do switch to your premium rounds, you are going to suffer. But at the end of the day, I would rather guarantee pen someone than bounce. So, you know, always make every shot count. And honestly, it will help. It will help. So, currently, so far, we've managed to block 2,000 damage, and we're actually up to 4k damage. And so far, we have actually hit every single shot. And you see the last shot there on the E100. It was very low hit points. So why not just switch to HE? The same there with the Tortoise. If I probably aimed, I would probably get that shot with the AP, but I didn't want to risk it. I didn't want to expose myself for a long period of time. So why not quickly use your heat and get the penetration? The same here, again, against the Tortoise. 177. I know I can clear that guy with just a shot. No need to aim, just a shot with HE and he's dead. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, you know, when there is a low hit point tank, they still try to use AP or they still try to use their heat, even in a big tank like the E100. There's no need. If you've got a tank that is definitely below 200 in a tank when you're driving the E100, just splash it with HE. You've got to be very unlucky to do less than 200 damage into a tank. So always try to use that HE, because again, I could have missed that shot. I could have bounced, he could have stayed alive, he maybe then could have taken me out. And again, the same there with the T30. Very low hit points, just take him out, and then that is literally game over. So at this point, like, we've now won. We're on 5.9k damage, we've blocked 2,500 damage, we've done our job, and actually, like I said, we managed to hit every single one of our shots. You're not always going to get that. I get that, you know, you're not always going to get 100% penetration. So there are going to be times that you miss your shots. There are going to be times, especially when you're in something like a Death Star, that you're aiming and aiming and aiming, then the shot just goes into the next map. It happens, but you can sort of lower the chances of that, but actually aiming, fully aiming in, and you increase your chances of penetrating and well, hitting and penetrating the enemy tank. So that is one thing I would always recommend for you guys to do. Make every shot that you have count, especially in certain tanks. Like I said, if you're driving something like a T62, you can afford to miss some shots. If you're driving an E50M, you can afford to miss some shots because you have that DPM, you have that low reload, so you can afford to miss them shots. But when you're driving a tank like the E100, like a Death Star, like a Jaegeru, then you really need to focus and make every single shot that you have count, and it really will help. It will help your average damage, it will help your win rate, and it's more fun because you'll do more damage as well. So let me know your opinion in the comments below. Do you think every shot counts, or do you take a risk sometimes with these snapshots just to try and get the penetration? Or do you try to aim at these little weak points with your AP because you want to do more alpha? Let me know in the comments below. But guys, I'm meadsyreplays. Thanks for coming, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye for now.